Hey NorCal Carters, this is Jason with another quick video. Another wonderfully produced karting video. As you can tell here, my art department has been hard at work with our graphics. So doing a great job there. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. So this quick video is on safety wire pliers and how to use them and how to actually properly safety wire stuff. So safety wire pliers, they have this pull handle, and as you pull the handle, the plier will spin. It also has a latch. So what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze the handle, pull the latch back, and that locks it in place, gripping your safety wire. And they also have what I call the spark plug top crimper or tightener. Is this cutout. Now I have no idea what that is called or what it is for. So if we have a airline mechanic or somebody else that is actually very proficient at proper safety wire tools and how to do it, please comment below on what this cutout is for, because I know it's not for the spark plug cap or spark plug top. I just happen to use it because it fits without marring the spark plug. So I said crimper. You don't want to crimp it, but a lot of spark plugs, the tops are just threaded on. So I use my safety wire pliers because it's radiused, and then that's how I tighten that top. And then you don't get those ugly plier marks or anything else on your spark plug cap, because if this is rough or damaged, then you're just gonna blow through spark plug caps and you're gonna induce electrical problems. So again, viewers, if you know what this area is actually for, comment below. I would appreciate it. And so again, these are safety wire pliers. And in the description below, I will post a link. I picked these up from SwedeTech Racing, and they have shopsweedtech.com. So I will post a link below to their safety wire plier page, because I bought the pliers and it came with safety wire. Now, when purchasing safety wire, if you are racing, read your rule book, because a lot of karting organizations will have a minimum thickness on the safety wire. So again, if you're racing, or if you just want to be compliant under a specific rule, make sure you read the rule book and check on the thickness that the safety wire must at minimum be. Minimum. Must minimum. What is that? Minimum. Yeah. So, as you can tell, I'm a paid spokesperson with my proper full utility of the English language. No, not really. So, that's it. Safety wire pliers, the latch, the spinning part, safety wire, and now to the fun part, how to use these bad girls or bad boys. Now, I may accidentally do this backwards, but listen to my words and don't exactly copy what I'm doing, because I am doing this backwards. But when you're doing safety wire, you need to go through a hole, okay? Safety wire goes through a hole. Don't be that guy that just wraps the safety wire around a thread and then tightens it and then tells the tech guy, look, I did the safety wire. No, it has to go through a hole. And the other part of safety wire that is very important is the direction that the wire goes. So imagine the safety wire, one, is not just meant to keep the nuts from falling off, because if the nuts fell off, you're just a bad mechanic and didn't check that. That's part one. But it's also designed to keep tension on the hardware, meaning when you put the safety wire through, I will try to find a couple of pictures or something that I can put in the description below. But imagine the safety wire, there's going to be pre-tension between the two bolts that you're using, and the tension is going to tighten the bolt. meaning it is going to be very difficult for the bolt to unwind or untighten or spin. You want the safety wire to pull the force in a tightening position. So that is very, very important. And you're also going to have a twisting action between each bolt. It's not that you go through one bolt, another bolt, and then safety wire the end. It's actually so the bolts do not spin loose. So that is what it's for, is not to keep the nut from falling off because you're a bad mechanic. It's to keep the bolt from spinning, then causing the nut to spin off. So what I did here, it's probably out of scene, is I crimped up here. You can't see it because I really have this zoomed in right on the safety wire bolts. So it's latched and is locked. Now I'm going to pull the silver end that I showed you a moment ago. So I'm pulling the end, and you want somewhere between 6 and 8 twists per inch of safety wire. And the way you measure it off is you just put it through like I did, then you pinch right at the length of the next securing wire. Then you're going to route it through. You're going to pull it. Up, you see here, you see how there's this bow? You don't want this. You want it straight. So right now this is not pulling tension. So I missed my length by probably 1/4 of an inch or so. So you don't want that. See, it's still, there's a bow in it. You want it straight across. And you also want this bolt twisting to tighten, and the tension here is twisting to tighten. So that's what you want. And so since I'm going to redo this later, I'm just going to keep tightening. You also don't want to over tighten. So you can see it here how this coil is much tighter than this coil. I could have went a little bit more here, which would have tightened that up just a little bit. And this is over tightened currently. Now if I keep going, it just breaks right off. You don't want that, because now this has become very brittle and the safety wire is going to break off. But being that I'm going to cut this off and redo it here in a bit anyway, I'm going to just butcher this one. And don't ever, 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 ever leave loose pigtails like that. Please bend the tips over and back on themselves. And if it's too short, then redo it and start over. But there's nothing worse than when you're working on a cart and you have these bob-wired safety wire ends everywhere and you're cutting your hands up, etc. So again, you want to bend that pigtail back over, and that way it minimizes the chance of your skin getting caught, etc. And let's see, what else? I already went over, you don't want to just wrap it around the thread then do it. It has to go through a hole. Don't leave the pigtail dangling. Make sure you bend it over to lessen the chance of it digging through your skin. And other reasons too, like if these are like up here on the steering column, what can happen is dig in your suit, tear your suit. Again, dig in your skin, tear your skin. I already showed you, don't over tighten it. This is a perfect example of one that's over tightened and it's not safe because it's going to snap off. And then don't ever reuse wire. So when I cut this off after the video, I'm not going to reuse this piece. I'm going to start with a fresh piece. Usually a pound of safety wire. It comes in a can. Usually a can is, I think, anywhere from $12 to $18, depending on where you buy it. And you can also get 6-inch and you can get 9-inch safety wire pliers. These ones are the 9-inch ones. They're heavy duty. I like them in my toolbox. Never gonna ever have to replace these. However, I do really like the 6-inch ones for the carting type application because they're a little bit smaller. It gets into the places a little bit easier. The tips are a little bit more narrow right here, so it makes it easier to bend the pigtails back on themselves. But what I have now in front of me are the 9-inch, and that's what I used. And some other uses. So safety wire goes through drilled bolts. Never, never, never wrap around the thread itself and then just try to tighten it to fool the tech guy. And yeah, I've done it, I know. But little story here. Years ago, one of my competitors in a Honda CR125, I'm sorry, Honda CR80, it's when I ran the 80 class, somebody lost the weight off of their cart. It was a 5-pound lead weight. And he was the next person behind him. He hit that 5-pound weight and it destroyed his cart. It took this front axle, this piece here, it destroyed the front of the cart and it bent that axle. And I'm not really sure how he resolved fixing it, if he got a new frame or cut the front axle off, I don't know. But it basically caved in this front axle 2 to 3 inches, and that was only from hitting a 5-pound lead weight at approximately 60 miles an hour. So if you are a bad mechanic, you have a couple of options. Hire a good mechanic, or don't work on your own stuff, or don't show up, because you can really hurt someone if you don't properly secure the, especially lead weight. But again, the safety wire isn't designed to keep the nut from falling off. It's designed so the bolts don't spin and then loosen the nuts and then fall off. So again, it's there as a safety, not as a securing feature. And let's see, I got my notes. What else we have here? Uses, well, that's what we were talking about, and I got distracted. So it's very helpful to have a tech sheet. So if you're racing one of the NorCal series, all of them have tech sheets that you can fill out. It's very helpful to have a tech sheet so you can go over the cart. On this video, I'm only just doing just the brake master cylinder. And the only reason I'm doing this one is because the bolts were already drilled. Pretty much all associations require the use of nylox and or some sort of a safety wire or a safety clip or a cotter key. So back in the old school days, like this particular Track Magic, we all drilled our bolts. We drilled holes and we used safety wire. The newer Italian carts, they machine the end of the bolts and it has a little groove in it, and then we use little safety clips. You can also use cotter keys. And now the cotter key won't keep the bolt from spinning, but it will keep the nut from completely falling off, losing your parts. About the only place you don't use nylox is going to be the rear, on the rear brake system. Because of the heat, it'll melt the nylock and then the nut is useless at that point. But I also like using, in a jam, I will use safety wire for fuel line. And what you want to do is just basically wrap it around the fuel line twice and then just snug it enough so it's tightening the fuel line but not cutting through it. There's other wire fuel line clamps that you can order. I buy mine through SwedeTech that work a lot better than safety wire. But if you run into a situation and you need something, you can use safety wire. Again, wrap it around twice, then pull it, and again take the pigtail, bend it back on itself. And hopefully you found this video useful. I know it's a long-winded, but that's just how I am. And again, if anyone knows what this cutout on the safety wire plier is for, please comment below. And I appreciate you watching the video. And again, NorCal Carters, and we have our great graphics department. Boom, just like that, NorCal Carters. If this was TikTok, I'd go like this or do something that gives you dizziness and headaches, but I'm not that advanced. All right, everyone, thank you.